Well, for years, Cleveland's Shawn Porter has been thought of as a future star. The future getting a lot closer for him. Tonight, the 23-year-old welterweight going to showcase his skills in our opening bout. Faces the 9-year pro, Adjaho. And there is Adjaho, 34 years old, originally from the west coast of Africa, made his way to Western New York. He's been fighting in the U.S. since '06, a 17-4 record, 3 straight losses. Tough test of opposition here tonight in Porter. By the way, Adjaho had to sweat off 2.5 pounds yesterday afternoon to make the contracted weight. At 5'7", Shawn Porter gives up 4 inches to Adjaho. He's compact, he's fast, he's well-skilled. A lot of amateur success, was a national Golden Gloves champ, U.S. Olympic alternate. Came in at a tight 144 pounds. This after starting his career at 165. 17-0 is Shawn Porter. Now it's time to see how the fighters will keep their edge, brought to you by Just for Men, Mustache and Beard.
Well, let's go with the undefeated fighter first, Porter. You are much bigger and stronger. Go bang on his body. And for Adjaho, use your legs and counter on the outside.
Shawn Porter has been a local favorite in Cleveland, born and raised there until he was 13. Made his way to Akron. Has fought here in Maryland, had his pro debut here, a first-round TKO back in '08. Kenny Chevalier, the referee for our opening bout, scheduled for 10.
We'll take care of that. Look here, I'm gonna allow a little bit right up top here, okay? Same thing here. Everything up here is good to go, all right? The main thing I want is a clean break. Watch your low blows, and I don't want them heads used in the wrong way. Touch the gloves up.
Interesting comment, Teddy, made by Kenny Porter, the father and trainer of Shawn Porter. As you notice the trunks of Adjaho, and they have the rhinestone there, as Kenny Porter was quick to say to Chevalier, the referee, hey, he has those sparkles there that can come loose. I want you to watch that something doesn't end up in my fighter's eye.
Yeah, no, it's observant of him. Hey, that's a father looking out for his son, not just for a fighter. So maybe he's looking a little even closer than a normal guy would be looking, who doesn't have his son participating. But the referee, Ken Chevalier, good referee, former fighter, he noticed right away, and he pointed out also that Adjaho's trunks and cup a little high. So he said, I'm going to allow punches a little above the line. You know, Porter's a much bigger guy, Joe. Turned pro, 165 pounds. Most of his fights are junior, middle, or higher. Only dropped to welterweight in his last 2 fights. While Adjaho has fought at 125 pounds, featherweight. Most of his fights that we have a record of will be between junior lightweight and lightweight. Last 2 fights only did he go up to the welterweight limit. So Porter, naturally the much bigger guy in this fight.
Coming down to 147 pounds, 144 for tonight. He said it is part of my growth process to get better. It's where I should be weight-wise as a professional. He's already been invited to be a chief sparring partner for Manny Pacquiao for his fight against Shane Mosley. And then, of course, he wants to cash in against some of those big names in that division down the road.
You know, I don't know if you're going to see explosive power with Porter, but you're going to see explosive speed, I think, with Porter as he slips right there, and the referee quickly cleans the gloves and says, yes, it was a slip. But I think any explosions on the part of Porter will be in the speed department, much faster than Adjaho. And a little trickier right there as he maneuvers his body to the side.
Combination by Porter, went out the side door, doubles up the jab, and comes with the right hand that time.
You know, you touched on Porter coming in 144, the lightest weight of his career. Now, a lot of people would applaud, and I applaud too. Great shape, he knows he's on television, he wants to be ready, and he is ready. But I'm wondering if he gave up some of that strength and size advantage coming in so light with a smaller guy.
Good stiff jab that time by Porter.
Adjaho was stopped once, knocked out once in his career. My question here early, Joe, is that he was knocked out by a 135-pounder. What happens when he's hit by Porter, a junior middleweight fighting at welterweight? That's what I want to see.
See if that question gets answered here early on. There's a right hand, a good solid right hand by Adjaho.
And you know what that's proof of? Timing will beat speed. Porter's the faster guy, but Adjaho threw the right hand at the right time over the jab of Porter.
Well-timed right hand from Adjaho. Now Porter chases him back to the ropes, looks to land body shots.
Porter's fast, but sometimes when you have that God-given talent of being fast, you get reckless. You come in from too far away. Porter has to be careful.
And Porter coming to the end of round number 1 on Friday Night Fights. Stop. ESPN Friday Night Fights brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Knocks out the gray better than ever. That is the Main Street Gym here in Salisbury, Maryland, a non-profit facility. They work with at-risk youth, and Teddy took a visit there yesterday. In fact, coming up a little later on, the Main Street Gym, the home to Teddy's fight plan to get us ready for the main event.
You see the right uppercut by Porter. I would have liked to see the left hook right there behind it before the head came back down. Good right uppercut, but like a good cake. Just missing a little spice, and that spice would have been the left hook.
Would have been available for Porter. Round number 2 here of our scheduled 10-round co-feature. Porter 17-0 and a welterweight prospect. Told you about his amateur success. Was an alternate for the 08 Olympics. Made the trip to China. He was 20 years old during those games.
Adjaho came in 2.5 pounds heavy over the contracted weight. He went into the parking lot, ran, and lost the weight. I don't think it's going to affect him. It was last night. He had plenty of time to rehydrate and get all the nutrients that he needed into his body.
Saw a couple punches to that belt line, as Kenny Chevalier pointed out. Adjaho wearing that protector a little high. There's a right hand that comes in from Porter. Adjaho tried to answer with a right of his own. Porter to the inside, a series of punches. There's that uppercut again. That time the left hand comes back with a 1-2.
You see the speed difference of Porter. We touched on it. Not only the speed difference, Joe, but Porter just a busier guy. You get the feeling, even early, that Adjaho's not winning a decision. He's not busy enough. He will not keep up in the punch number department to be in a good position on the scorecard for Porter. Adjaho's going to have to land something big.
Double jab right hand from Porter. Tries to mix in a right hand to the body. Adjaho trying to place that range with the jab of his own.
You go back 2 fights. Adjaho was off 1 year. Adjaho has lost his last 3.
His father was the national boxing coach back in his West African home, the country of Benin, a French-speaking African country that has had to endure economic and political turmoil. Made his way to France and then ended up somehow in Western New York and fighting here in the U.S. for the better part of the past 5 years.
See, one of the problems with Adjaho, his defense is to just cover up. When he covers up, well, Porter does something simple too. He just gets his hands off and takes advantage, like you saw right there.
Yeah, just did it moments ago on the inside. And a good start to the night for the unbeaten Shawn Porter. End of 2. There's Ken Porter, father and trainer of the unbeaten prospect Shawn Porter. Round number 3 here in Maryland against Andres Adjaho. Joe Tessitore, Teddy Atlas with you ringside. Teddy, I want to ask you about something, conversation that Ken Porter had with us yesterday, where he was talking about the fact that he wants to see his son be a little more patient and to relax in the ring and to be smoother. He said, I went out and I hired a swimming coach, and we put him under the pressure of swimming, having to get to the end of the pool without rushing, learning how to breathe correctly. What do you make of that as a trainer?
Whatever floats your boat. But in all seriousness, one of the notes I made to myself when we did Porter's fight a few fights ago last year, one of the notes I made is he needs to settle down.
Right.
Needs to calm down, needs to get in more control of himself, a little bit more comfortable with himself. And I think that that's happening. He is settling down. Whatever's making it happen, I think the natural progress is getting into the ring, getting more experience, more sure of yourself. But anything that you can use to help that process, go ahead.
Porter said, I took a boxing issue and I made it a swimming issue, but the bottom line is that he's breathing right, he's relaxing more, and he's more consistent.
You want to be calm in that ring so you can see more. You can notice more. When a fighter first starts, good trainers, and there's not a lot of them out there, quite honestly, but really good trainers will tell you a fighter doesn't see the whole picture. As he gets more relaxed and more confident, kind of like our 3D picture tonight, you see more dimensions. Instead of one way to hit the guy, you see 3 ways, 4 ways, 5 ways, 10 ways to hit the guy.
Hope you're enjoying this broadcast, both available in HD and on ESPN 3D, presented by Sony. Let's show you some of those graphics in 3D that we'd like to show you. The CompuBox numbers as we stand here in round 3. You see the punch stats as Porter has outworked Adjaho 166 to 110 in terms of punches thrown. He's landing 31% of his total punches.
The first half of Adjaho's career was in Africa. All his losses have come while fighting here in the United States. And he's not feeling real comfortable here in the U.S. tonight. Not so far.
Tough spot that he's put in here against an unbeaten and developing Shawn Porter. He's lost 3 straight, as you mentioned.
See, again, Porter's greatest physical asset to me is his speed. Not if you look at his record, you might think it's his power, but it's not his power. And his speed is carrying him here tonight.
Florida to close out round number 3.
Take a look at these real fast punches here that you're going to see coming right now. Now, we look at the fast punches. Okay, that's nice. But now look at the defensive moves. See that little head movement there? That's what I like. The punches, yeah, you need them. But the defense, that's how you stay in the fight. He moved his head after the last punch and avoided the right hand of his opponent, Adjaho.
Shawn Porter, the 17-0 welterweight prospect from Ohio. We're going to have a big year here in 2011. He's going to go back to work with Manny Pacquiao and ready the Pac-Man for that May 7th showdown with Sugar Shane Mosley. He's been his chief sparring partner a few times. You see Adjaho firing off the right hand there, trying to come down and get a chopping right hand. In fact, Porter still finishes things up at Freddie Roach's Wild Card Gym in L.A.
Porter's made 2 mistakes tonight. He's paid for both of them, and he better correct them. He's thrown that jab too close, where Adjaho, yes, the slower man, yes, the smaller man, but a man who could time you. And he timed it with the right hand over the jab twice, and he does it again there.
He does it there in chopping style, kind of clubbing down with that right hand. So an opportunity that exists consistently here for Adjaho we've seen throughout the early goings here.
And his people better be cognizant of that mistake. That little opening for Adjaho. That's all fighter needs, is a little opening sometimes to turn a fight around. See, there's a lot that Porter can do. He can come to the sides. He can throw combinations. He can show that overall speed advantage. But there's one thing that Adjaho has found. He's found that right hand. Just watch Adjaho. I got to give him credit. The flashier guy is Porter, but Adjaho doing some good work this round. What he does throw, he's making sure that it means something. It counts. Whether it's the right hand up top or the body shots.
That is not confetti on the mat, nor is it sprinkled upon the fighters' torsos. That's exactly what Ken Porter was concerned with, as those rhinestone sparkles are coming off the trunks of Adjaho. There's another right hand.
Everything Adjaho's doing, he's concerned very conservative about it, but he's making sure that nothing's wasted, that everything is thrown that has a chance to land. Porter wastes a lot of punches. They don't all land. That's his style. Not much wasted by Adjaho. There's another time shot.
With the left hand that time.
Adjaho cannot keep up in the speed department with Porter, but what he's doing is timing Porter. Porter stands in front, he times him with the right hand. Got to give a lot of credit to Adjaho. He's a little outgunned when it comes to just pure physical ability, especially, as we said, in the speed department. But timing does beat speed, and Adjaho's been doing a pretty good job of showing that, especially the last round.
Makes it a much more interesting fight as we've seen Adjaho take advantage of that. Round number 5 of our opening bout here on Friday Night Fights. Shawn Porter trying to stay unbeaten, 17-0. Of course, in our main event, it's why this place is packed here in Salisbury, Maryland. 20-0. Fernando Guerrero will be taking on Derek Finley.
You know, the last round could be interesting scoring. Porter outworked Adjaho, and I expect that. He's a busier guy. That's his style. Adjaho doesn't throw anything unless he thinks it has a chance to land. He doesn't just throw punches for the sake of throwing them or to set up other punches. But I gave that round to Adjaho just because the punches he did throw were pretty effective.
Yeah, been efficient, been making good decisions, and he made them well in that last round. Reminder that Saturday on ESPN2, coverage starts at noon Eastern for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Daytona, as presented by GoDaddy.com. Saturday, coverage starts at noon Eastern. First race of the 2011 season.
See, Adjaho just puts those earmuffs on and walks in. When you put those earmuffs on, two things you can do. And Porter's done them both this round. There's that right hand.
There it is again,
Adjaho. But that time, Porter had his glove up. But when a guy puts the earmuffs on, two things you can do. You can get off your punches, take advantage of him imitating a heavy bag, and do that. Just tattoo him a little bit. Put them together. Or you can step to the side, throw a punch and step to the side of Adjaho as he stands there. And Porter's done a pretty good job of getting to the side. When a guy covers up like that, Joe, you can really get those angles on him. You know, he's giving you that opportunity. He's very stationary. You get to the side. The next trick is punch when you get to the side. That's what I worry about with a 23-year-old like Porter, who's very fast. But I've said it before, it's kind of like giving a teenager a Porsche. You know, they're not used to that speed, and they might not respect that speed. They might get careless and run a couple red lights, and Porter gets a little careless. He jumps in and runs red lights with that speed sometimes instead of working his way in. Because he's quick enough where he feels invincible, like he can get away with that.
Well, Adjaho's been sitting on that right uppercut. Getting a little rough here at the end. Rick Diaz and Hector Alejandro in the corner of Angi's Adjaho. They gave him an earful here in what he's doing against Shawn Porter, the unbeaten prospect. He said, "You're making it too easy on Porter. We want you to be first." Now, Teddy, a lot of Adjaho's success has come with timing and counterpunching.
Yeah, I agree, and that's his temperament, that's his style. That's what works for him. That's where his confidence lays. And I think he's right. He can't stay up and be first. I don't think with Porter too often. Can't match that speed, but he can wait for Porter to make a mistake and time him. And that's what he's done in some rounds, on the inside even. Like here, I'm looking for him now to try to time Porter. As Porter throws, he won't match him punch for punch. He'll be behind the 8-ball there. But he'll throw a punch at the right time and catch up a little bit. But right now, Adjaho needs to let his hands go a little bit.
So second half of this scheduled 10-rounder. Let's look at how Teddy scored the first 5 rounds.
See, that's what I'm talking about, just timing. He waited for Porter to throw something, made a little move, now he'll jump on it. The right time.
4 rounds to 1 for Porter, says Teddy.
I like the way that Adjaho makes just adjustments for the talent separation that he has with Porter. With the talent differentiation, he understands that he's got to throw exactly at the right time. He can't match him at the wrong time. He's got to just wait for the opportunities and then let punches go. See, right now, Adjaho, he's just waiting for a spot. Maybe if Porter throws that jab too close, he'll time the right hand over. Maybe if Porter comes in close, he'll try to go underneath to Porter's body. What Porter's trying to do is make sure that Adjaho doesn't set his feet to punch. That's why he's doing all this movement. It's not just nervous energy. He sees that Adjaho likes to be set, so he can do that. He can get off. So in the mind of Porter, I'm not going to let him get set. I'm going to make him move his feet where he can't punch.
Leave his head alone. The punch is up.
Warning from Kenny Chevalier. Porter now working consistently with Adjaho up against the ropes. Coming to the end of 6, scheduled for 10 here on Friday Night Fights.
This is how you deal with a faster guy. You go to the body to slow him down, take that speed away. Beautiful body shot there. And again, that's the way you make up for where you may lack in physical ability of speed. Adjaho used technique and timing to land that left hook to the body.
Round 7 here between Porter and Adjaho. Porter trying to go to 18-0. Let's look at the CompuBox numbers. We saw a good-looking power shot there from Adjaho, who's been sprinkling those in throughout the fight with countering opportunities. But you see the work rate has been done by Porter, the busier fighter. Power punches throwing 192, landing 69.
Right now you see speed and maybe you see youth carrying the day for Porter, 23 versus the 34-year-old Adjaho, 11 years his elder.
Comes in with a lead left hand.
You know, Adjaho, he's lost in a WBA eliminator fight. He just can't seem to win at the next level, say the B+ level. The question going in tonight was, what level was Porter? And the reason why you can see Adjaho comes up a little short, quite frankly, is he covers up and doesn't do enough in spots. And that allows fighters to get ahead of him. In this case, Porter to out-hustle.
That was a wide looping right hand, and then came in there almost a clash of heads. This is the first fight for Shawn Porter since a KO win last October. That fight included 3 unintentional headbutts to his opponent, all of them causing cuts.
I'll tell you what was going on in the mind of Porter right there, why he posed and why he just waited before he threw anything off. He remembered a couple times tonight when he threw a jab, he got caught with a right hand. He didn't want that to happen again. He was looking for the right spot, the right field to let his hands go. A lot of people think you're a fighter, you just throw punches. No, no, no. I say it 3 times, 3D. You can't just throw punches. You got to throw punches at the right time, in the right space.
Oh,
See, you throw a little too far away.
Yep.
And that's exactly why I talk about that. You throw too far away, there is space. Space for Adjaho to fill.
And he filled it with that right hand. He was just waiting on Porter, who lunged forward, and then Adjaho struck and scored.
And that's exactly what Adjaho's doing, looking to time.
3 rounds to go when we return. Next step in the career of Shawn Porter as he's trying to maintain his unbeaten mark, taking on Angie's Adjaho here in our opening bout. Round number 8, been an interesting co-feature to get things going. Porter has been the busier man ahead on Teddy's scorecard, but Adjaho has had his moments.
Haven't seen any red tonight, and I'm glad for that, and I don't want to jinx anybody, but Porter has been involved in some head clashes in his career. Matter of fact, Porter was cut over his right eye 2 fights ago. So far, so good. No problem in that area for Porter.
Teddy, would you feel that it's a fair statement to say that when we saw Porter in Cleveland and he was headlining a Friday Night Fight main event in February 2010, that he didn't quite have the night that most people expected?
I think it was a growing process. It was a growing up night on television, a lot of expectation, and a lot of talk about his knockout power, which I didn't think was real. I think it was a night where he could find out what was real. A night where he could really start to discover his identity. And I think he's shown us that he has discovered it a little bit. He's a fast guy who boxes, not a seek and destroy fighter that maybe they thought he was that night. I think that night was important to get to this night. And I think that he's shown me development.
So you have seen the growth and development over the course of 1 year.
It's right in front of my eyes.
Come on, hands are free, Shawn. Here we go.
Every fight is going to have something on their resume that's not spectacular. That's not what counts. What you learn from it, what that does to you, how that forms you, that's what counts. See, that's where Porter has to be careful, reaching in a little bit with that speed and allowing Adjaho a spot to time him.
Porter on the attack now. Right hand to the body and then charging after Adjaho.
See one of the religious verses on the trunk of Porter, Phil 413. A pretty good fighter used to wear the same one, Evander Holyfield.
Fighter's still going at it.
Defense when you're coming out. Okay.
Wycomico Civic Center here in Salisbury, Maryland is filled up, the anticipation building, because Fernando Guerrero, there he is. He will be in the main event. He is the pride of this area, a blue chip middleweight prospect, hoping to soon be a contender. He's 20-0 with 16 knockouts. He'll be taking on Derek Finley in our main event. 2 rounds to go here in our opening bout. Adjaho and the unbeaten Shawn Porter.
You know, you talked early in the last round about what I thought of the progression of Porter since the last time he was on our air last year. And on our air, during that fight, we both suggested that we thought that maybe Porter should go down to welterweight,
right,
instead of fighting at the weight he was that night at junior middle. And it seems like he listened. And it seems like he is at a more comfortable weight class right now.
He was 152 that night against Russell Jordan. Came in at 144 tonight. Hey, Sunday at 8 o'clock on ESPN, the Year of the Quarterback presents The Color Orange, the Condridge Holloway story. Condridge Holloway, the first African-American to ever start at quarterback in the SEC. Join us Sunday at 8 for ESPN's Year of the Quarterback, The Color Orange. Looked like that right uppercut slipped in on the inside from Adjaho as Porter was trying to place a right hand to the body. Halfway through round number 9.
Right there, Porter saw that when Adjaho covers up, he not only gives you opportunities to go upstairs, you can go downstairs. And Porter tried to, I think, give Adjaho a little taste of his own medicine. Touch that body a little bit.
Step back, both of you. Step back. Step back.
Painting from Porter, then he decides to come in behind the jab.
There's a lot of things you can talk about with the differences of these two fighters, talent and style-wise. I think the simplest way to put it is Adjaho's not busy enough and Porter is.
There was Adjaho trying to wait for that countering opportunity with the right hand. Yeah, I think that's why his corner was imploring him about halfway through the fight to do a little more on the front end.
But it's not his temperament.
It isn't.
You can see that.
Not at all.
It's not his nature. What I think he can do more on the front end, Adjaho, is use that jab maybe to stabilize and control Porter a little.
1 round to go. We'll start with Kenny and Shawn Porter.
Shawn. Don't do it, okay? Use your double jab in your right hand, okay? Move your head afterwards. Spit this out.
Coming this round.
Huh?
My bread and butter.
Huh?
He's coming this round. That's my bread and butter.
Okay.
Hands up.
Keep the hands up and turn. And when you turn him, step to him with some hard shots to the body and push him off to the head.
Okay.
Right. Okay? When you turn him, step to him. Right? When you turn him, step to him. Keep your hands up. Don't let in this fight. Okay? That fight.
Interesting comment, Teddy, by Shawn Porter. He turned to his dad and he said, he's coming this round. That's my bread and butter.
Yeah, what he meant by that, I believe, is that he's got to do what I want him to do. He's the one desperate. I'm not the one desperate. He's going to come to me. I'm going to counter and take what he gives me. It's going to make my job easier, my bread and butter.
Well, Teddy's job is to sit here and score our fights ringside. So let's look where things stand with 3 minutes to go. Commanding lead by the unbeaten Shawn Porter. And that is being ruled as a slip.
And the reason Porter felt so good going into this round way ahead is because he knew that Adjaho might make his job easier by walking forward, being desperate, doing a little of his work for him. Maybe he'll walk into shots.
Adjaho trying to find Porter. Perhaps he does walk into one here.
See the pressure all on Adjaho.
Step back, both of you. Step back.
Porter just has to make sure he's standing at the end of this round. See, the one thing that I would agree with the corner, yeah, you want to be first. They said it early on with Adjaho, even though that's not his way. But the reason I didn't embrace that, Joe, is because you can't tell a guy to be first if he doesn't train to be first all the time, if that's not his way in the gym. You can't make him all of a sudden be that way and expect him to be that way in the ring. But the one thing that I think Adjaho should do more, should have done more tonight, was use that long jab. Just control the faster guy in space on the outside. Stabilize him a little bit.
5'11" fighter against a 5'7" fighter. Has that range.
Well, just look. Porter's being allowed on the outside.
Nothing's coming at him.
Come and go as he pleases.
Right to the inside for Porter. Now Adjaho tries to turn the table.
You look at the fast hands of Porter, but some pretty good feet stepping to the side every once in a while on Adjaho. Again, when a guy comes up like Adjaho does, he gives you a chance to get shots off, like a heavy bag, and he gives you a chance to get to the side. Porter has shown the ability to recognize that and to do that.
hold, fellas. Come on out there. Come on out. Come on out.
So they go the full 10 rounds. Respect between Adjaho and Porter. Good work tonight from the unbeaten prospect, Shawn Porter. High fives for Dad. He was dishing out a little something extra for Adjaho. A little ultra slow-mo with the uppercut. How about that? Judges when we come back. We told you a history-making telecast tonight in spectacular 3D on ESPN 3D and, of course, HD on ESPN2 and the Ultra Mo in effect with Adjaho and Porter. Some big shots landed in our opening bout.
Nice body shot there, but not enough of them.
Teddy scorecard has Shawn Porter taking it 99-91. Let's go up to the ring to Thomas Treiber.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Both judges, Don Risher and John Gradowski, are in agreement, scoring it exactly the same, 99-91. And Judge Gary Campaneschi scores it 97-93, all in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. And still, NABF welterweight champion, Showtime, Shawn Porter.